Geometry Dash is a pretty basic game. You tap to jump over obstacles, complete levels for rewards, then with the knowledge you've learned, you try to make or complete community-made levels. Now, let's just say that you're RobTop, and you want to keep the game alive, to not fall into the pit of dead games, it's so called. You have two options. Option 1 is to make sequels or spin-offs to your existing game, or option 2 is to update the current version of your game with new content. RobTop, in his almighty wisdom, decided in the end to say, yes, and subsequently released not only major updates to his main game, but also created spin-off games to show off new features he was working on. And to also pump you full of ads! So today, I will be rating, mostly, everything in Update 2.1, the most recent update to be fully released in Geometry Dash, to help us reflect and move on to 2.2 releasing later this month. Let's begin. Now let's start by talking about the main level, Finger Dash, and see how it holds up to the rest of the levels. Now for full context, here's a little crash course in GD level design. Each level in Geometry Dash teaches you a concept that over time will be useful in future levels. For example, Stereo Madness teaches you the fundamentals of cube jumps in the plane mode, Back on Track adds on top of that jump pads, Poltergeist adds jump orbs, and etc. And over time, these mechanics compile to make Geometry Dash levels progressively more complex and difficult. So, with that in mind, does Finger Dash properly introduce the new mechanics to players? Wait, stop! Cut the music. Once the level begins, we are immediately introduced to one of the new orbs, the Black Orb. The introduction perfectly represents what the Black Orb does, plummeting the players straight to the ground, preventing them from hitting the spikes above. Shortly after the Black Orb, we are given the first use of the Dash Orb, perfectly syncing with the music. It also displays a message at death if you don't hold down the mouse button when using the orb. Very useful info for new players. I would also like to mention the block and level design. It looks awesome, and the whole level stays a consistent theme, which is nice considering a lot of community-made levels have a problem of consistency in gameplay and decoration. We are then introduced to the red pad, which we very quickly learn is just a beefed up version of the yellow pad. We are then introduced to the pink version of the Dash Orb, which is the exact same as the green version, it just flips your gravity. And fun fact, you can just go straight through the portal without touching any ground if you want to. And for the rest of this section, it just repeats the uses of the previously introduced orbs with other orbs that already exist in the game until we reach the spider section. Overall, I'm going to be giving the beginning section of Finger Dash a 9 out of 10. The detail is really nice, and I really like how they introduce the new orbs and pads. Wait. Did you guys see that? Let's rewind a bit. What we just saw was one of the best introductions for a new game mode in the entire game. Not only is the purpose of the spider made very clear in this section, not only does it have some of the best details in the entire section, feeling like you're a spider crawling through a cavern, not only does it have one of the best placed coins in the entire level that feels super skillful to grab, the section ends in a Dash Orb, which shows to players that not only will the Dash Orb work for the cube game modes, but for other game modes as well. This easily has to be one of the best ways of introducing a game mode. Now, I could go on and on about each section of the level, but then I'd start to repeat myself. So let's rapid fire through Finger Dash so we can start talking about other stuff in the update. The ship section has a really cool use for the fireball objects and the new rotation trigger. The ship section also has like no collision, so watch this. I personally find the robot part to be a little bit boring, but it does do a fine job of showing what the rotate trigger can do. And I would find the wave section boring if it wasn't for the coin collection, which adds a nice layer of complexity if the player desires it. The
The 2x speed with the spider is a nice added challenge to test the player's new spider skills. Then there's this unnecessary wave part right after, and an even more unnecessary UFO part that doesn't even show any new mechanics from the update. I guess RobTop had to meet some sort of game mode diversity quota for the level. Finger Dash then ends in a pretty simple cube section, which I think is a great way to wrap up the level. So, what rating will I be giving Finger Dash? Now, even though there are some sections of this level that I would completely change, for example, the UFO section, I still think that this level is fantastic at what it does, which is introducing players to new mechanics so they can use them in their own levels. So with that in mind, I will be giving Finger Dash a 9 out of 10. Before continuing, I just want to let you guys know that this is the first long-form video that I have ever created, and so if you like the content and you want me to continue, please give it a like and subscribe. As well, if you have any comments of any criticism or likes or whatever, please leave them below, as I love reading your guys' comments. Anyways, to continue, the 2.1 update didn't just add a new level, of course. There were a lot more things added to the 2.1 update, which is what I want to talk about now. Side note, I'm going to be combining features from 2.1 and 2.11, so I don't have to make an update video in the future. Let's begin with icons. There were about 96 icons added to the game in 2.1, and a bunch more added in 2.11, practically doubling the amount of icons in-game. These new icons were a lot more detailed than the older icons, some having shading and other details never seen before. I give the icons this update a 9 out of 10. The Geometry Dash editor got a massive upgrade in many ways, including tons of new triggers, new gameplay features, object types, and so much more. And though so much was added to the editor, I'm only going to be giving the editor an 8 out of 10. And the only reason I'm not giving the editor a 10 out of 10 is because he hasn't updated it in 6 years, meaning that the stuff he added had to be worked with for the past 6 years, which is ridiculous. And yes, I am fully aware that RobTop has a policy where he doesn't update the editor unless it's a full update, but I believe that's a stupid policy. Now we need to talk about collectibles, and there are a lot of them that were added in 2.1 and 2.11, so let me rapid fire through them real quick. Orbs, in my mind, get a 10 out of 10 because they are an awesome, unique currency, and it encourages players to play community levels to unlock skins in different shops. Keys are also an awesome collectible, but they aren't very well explained in the game on how you unlock them. Pun intended. 8 out of 10. Diamonds, on the other hand, kinda suck at the current state of the game, because there's no purpose to collecting them other than to complete achievements, and there really isn't any reliable way of getting them other than grinding daily quests. So, 5 out of 10. Lastly, we have shards, which also kinda suck. The only reliable way of grinding them is by grinding keys, but even that isn't a reliable way as chests don't always give you shards. At least the daily chests and the gauntlets give you the shards that you require. 5 out of 10. Speaking of chests, the treasure room gets a 7 out of 10. The concept of a secret room containing a bunch of chests that you have to unlock one by one sounds frustrating on paper, but in reality, the paper is totally correct. Though it does feel pretty awesome when you get a skin out of one of the chests that you open. Gauntlets are a fun idea on paper, but they didn't go perfectly in reality. The gauntlets are still fun though, giving an extra challenge to players looking for extra rewards. Though, is it just me, or are gauntlets giving map pack vibes? Ew. 8 out of 10. Daily and weekly levels were introduced in Update 2.1, which I think is an awesome way to highlight levels made by the community, though I do wish they had better rewards than just diamonds. 9 out of 10. 2 new vaults were also added in Update 2.1, which suck just as much as the first one, because random guessing games are not fun. All people do is look up the codes. 2 out of 10. At least one of the vaults has lore and a really cool skin behind it. Looking at the wiki page, there really isn't much else that I could rate here. I could say that the new demon subrating is a 9 out of 10, or how the Hall of Fame is a 7 out of 10, because it's way too long and needs some organizing. But if I get too nitpicky, I might actually explode. So how about we conclude what we started? Unlike other updates in Geometry Dash, I believe Update 2.1 added something that the others couldn't. Before Update 2.1, there wasn't really any major way of showing support to the community other than through social media and or in map packs, and map packs suck. And now we have all of these vectors to show off love to the community. For example, we have gauntlets, daily and weekly levels, the Hall of Fame, featured levels, and all of these things were added in Update 2.1. And with Update 2.2 on the horizon, I don't think that this game will be dying anytime soon. Quite the opposite, actually. I believe 2.2 is going to revolutionize the game, and I cannot wait for community members who quit years ago because of no updates to come back and enjoy the game once more. And overall, I'm going to be giving 2.1 a 9 out of 10. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I can't thank you enough to making it to the end. This is my first long-form video I've ever made, and so I really appreciate you guys supporting the channel. Midway through recording this video, I actually bought a really expensive microphone from Best Buy, and so hopefully my audio is going to be a lot more clearer for all the new videos I plan on making in the future. And until next time, this is Cool Colby 149.